Coronavirus. China's secret plan to weaponize viruses. In a secret speech given to high-level Communist Party cadres nearly 2 decades ago, Chinese Defense Minister General Cai Haotian explained a long-range plan for ensuring a Chinese national renaissance. He said there were 3 vital issues that must be grasped. The first was the issue of living space, because China is severely overpopulated and China's environment is deteriorating. The second issue, therefore, is that the Communist Party must teach the Chinese people to go out. By this, General Cai meant the conquest of new lands in which a second China could be built by colonization. From this arises the third vital issue, the issue of America. General Cai warned his listeners, this appears to be shocking, but the logic is actually very simple. China is in fundamental conflict with the Western strategic interest. Therefore, the United States will never allow China to seize other countries to build a second China. The United States stands in China's way. Cai explained the problem as follows. Would the United States allow us to go out to gain new living space? First, if the United States is firm in blocking us, it is hard for us to do anything significant to Taiwan, Vietnam, India, or even Japan. So, how much more living space can we get? Very trivial. Only countries like the United States, Canada, and Australia have the vast land to serve our need for mass colonization. We are not as foolish as to want to perish together with America by using nuclear weapons, said the general. Only by using non-destructive weapons that can kill many people will we be able to reserve America for ourselves. The answer is found in biological weapons. Of course, he added, we have not been idle. In the past years we have seized the opportunity to master weapons of this kind. The ruling Chinese Communist Party considers biological weapons to be the most important weapons for accomplishing their goal of cleaning up America. Cai credits Deng Xiaoping with putting biological weapons ahead of all other weapon systems in the Chinese arsenal. When Comrade Xiaoping was still with us, the party's Central Committee had the perspicacity to make the right decision not to develop aircraft carrier groups and focus instead on developing lethal weapons that can eliminate mass populations of the enemy country. It may seem difficult to believe, but General Cai considered himself to be a humanitarian, communist, and therefore admitted to mixed personal feelings on this matter. I sometimes think how cruel it is for China and the United States to be enemies. After all, he noted, the United States helped China in World War II. Chinese people remember that the United States opposed Japanese imperialism. But none of that matters now. In the long run, said General Cai, the relationship of China and the United States is one of a life and death struggle. This tragic situation must be accepted. According to General Cai, we must not forget that the history of our civilization repeatedly has taught us that one mountain does not allow 2 tigers to live together. According to General Cai, China's overpopulation problem and environmental degradation will eventually result in social collapse and civil war. General Cai estimated that more than 800 million Chinese would die in such a collapse. Therefore, the Chinese Communist Party has no policy alternative. Either the United States is cleaned up by biological attacks, or China suffers national catastrophe. Cai makes the following argument, we must prepare ourselves for 2 scenarios. If our biological weapon succeeds in the surprise attack, the Chinese people will be able to keep their losses at a minimum in the fight against the United States. If, however, the attack fails and triggers a nuclear retaliation from the United States, China would perhaps suffer a catastrophe in which more than half of its population would perish. That is why we need to be ready with air defense systems for our big and medium-sized cities. In his speech, General Cai provides us with a key for understanding China's development strategy. According to Cai, our economic development is all about preparing for the needs of war. It's not about improving the life of Chinese people in the short run. It's not about building a consumer-oriented capitalist society. Publicly, said General Cai, we still emphasize economic development as our center, but in reality, economic development has war as its center. The same can be said for China's intense interest in the biological sciences. Weaponizing viruses. The West has yet to grasp the underlying motive for China's ready participation in the West's P4 microbiology labs, where the world's most deadly microbes are studied, that is, pathogen lethality level 4 labs. This now bubbles to the surface in the novel coronavirus pandemic that has occurred in Wuhan, at the heart of China, just outside China's principal P4 virology lab specializing in deadly viruses. Not long after delivering his speech, General Kai stepped down as defense minister in 2003, the same year as the SARS coronavirus outbreak in China. This was also, coincidentally, the same year Beijing decided to build the Wuhan P4 virology lab. Given General Kai's speech, is the novel coronavirus outbreak in Wuhan an accident occasioned by weaponizing the virus at the city's P4 microbiology lab? 3 data points are worth considering. First, in 2008 Taiwan's top security official told lawmakers that Taiwan had intelligence linking the SARS virus to research done in Chinese labs, according to the Sydney Morning Herald. Given China's economic clout and political infiltration of Chinese-language media, it's not surprising that National Security Bureau Director Tsai Chao-ming was forced to retract his statement, which had none of the usual features of a gaffe. Was Director Tsai forced to retract a statement that was true, since he could not reveal his intelligence sources inside China? The second data point worth considering, the Virology Journal has an article by Gulfaraz Khan, published on Feb. 28, 2013, outlining the discovery of a novel coronavirus in Saudi Arabia in June 2012. Yes, it's the very same coronavirus with the following difference: when first discovered it couldn't be readily transmitted from human to human. Something changed in the virus since that time. Thus, the Wuhan version is labeled 2019 CoV instead of simply CoV. The latter is not contagious, while the former is spreading rapidly through China as these words are written. What do you suppose changed its transmissibility between 2012 and 2020? Random mutation or weaponization? This question has now been answered by Indian scientists who discovered coronavirus was engineered with HIV/AIDS-like insertions. If the current lethal outbreak had occurred in any other city than Wuhan, we might be inclined to believe in a random mutation. But Wuhan is ground zero for Chinese bioweapons. Should we credit such a coincidence?